spirituality, and thus the religions that reflect spirituality, from my perspective, have attempted to divide the undividable. And I would say there's three major approaches. You might call them the classic approaches, but the spirituality of self, which is usually more of an Eastern path. It's about enlightenment. More recently, it's about awakening. And it's about self-realization, to realize that in our spirit is something divine. And when we awaken to that, that's our spirituality: self-awakening, self-realization, enlightenment. I see the light in me, and when you discover that within yourself, it leads to inner peace, which is great. It's wonderful, but that's seen as a pathway that discounts or is separate from or is divided from other pathways. So the people of that pathway can't cross over to other pathways, and people of those other pathways don't want to explore that awakening or that self-realization. Then the other one is the concept of God, that there's this greater being in whom we can have relationship, and that relationship varies according to the religion, but often it's seen as something outside of us, and through a lot of human history as authoritarian. In the best cases, I feel it becomes very personal and very intimate and very loving. Yes. And so you say, well, is there this person in the sky? No, not quite. No. It's just that our consciousness springs from a source of consciousness. But just notice that when we say consciousness, it means it's conscious. And so we, in awakening to our own consciousness as the source of who we are, can become aware, oh, I'm a part of an even greater consciousness. And it's just like a newborn baby being born. The whole time in its womb, it knew that it had a source or a parent that was greater than it, but it was in the dark. It didn't know what it was. It could feel it, it could hear it, but it didn't have a direct contact with this greater being that created it. But when it's born and it looks into the eyes of its mother and looks into the eyes of its father, love is exchanged, awareness is exchanged, and relationship begins. Yes. And for me, it's been like that. I became aware that, oh, I come from an even greater conscious being. Hello. And only through consciousness can there be love. Think about it, right? If I wasn't a conscious being, I couldn't love you. And if you weren't a conscious being, you couldn't love me. Consciousness gives birth to the possibility of love and relationship. So this is a glorious part of awakening, is that I can be in loving relationship with the very source of my own being. And through that, I learn how to love, learn how to see myself, learn how to love others. And then the third is the divine in creation. We've seen that in the native cultures and religions of the earth, being able to see the beauty and the divinity within nature. We've seen it with the Taoist path. Taoism shows that there's this great energy moving through creation, which has a way. That's what the Tao is. There's a way, and when we align with the way, we go into harmony, and when we're not in alignment with the way, there's disharmony, which can be very easily seen. So, and we might say that this was the awakening of St. Francis of Assisi, who suddenly developed a relationship with all creation. And he said, brother sun, sister moon. He talked to the trees and the birds. Either he's absolutely crazy or he was on to something. And so for me, when we say international awakening, and I would call it a universal awakening, maybe a universal spirituality, we're just saying that these things don't have to be divided. That we can awaken to all of this and see that all of these things are as one, and then therefore become one with them. And that's been like such a great revelation to me. I don't have to decide. I don't have to check a box. I don't have to have one particular pathway. The universe is mine, and I'm open to this greater divine presence and mystery throughout all creation within myself and the very source of my being. And that has not been done. Even the greatest of religious authorities and spiritual teachers have often said, no, you can't mix that. You can't divide that. I've been told that. And I sometimes believed them because they were the authority, but then by my own experience, I found, oh yes, I can, and it's actually greater because in that I'm free. So that's a simple thing, but then often
simple thing.